Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about something that I feel like not a lot of people talk about, which is burnout in the tech industry. It is something that, although you kind of hear little bits here and little pieces there, I don't think you realize just how common it is that people experience burnout, and it has major health effects. So I wanted to share with you exactly why burnout in tech is so common, and also talk about my experience with burnout being part of the tech industry. Before we go any further though, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tech and coding related videos. And as always, shout out to some of these subscribers here. Thank you for your awesome questions and comments, your support, and just hearing other topics you want to cover. Keep me going, so thank you. Okay, without further ado, let's jump in. When I was getting into the tech industry, I kept on hearing from people in it that don't burn out, don't push too hard, you don't really understand or recognize burnout until it's almost too late, until you've experienced it, which is really a problem within itself. And I thought to myself, no, those people are, if I'm being totally transparent, when I first got into the industry, I thought, oh, those people are weak, or, they just don't know how to manage their time. And I had this really perception that I was too strong for burnout, that I couldn't have a burnout, which looking back is completely untrue. But when you're young and you're just getting into the industry and never really have worked these crazy hours with demanding kind of schedules and tasks upon you, you can kind of think that burnout isn't really this real thing, and it's something that adults make up so they can take time off work or whatever the case may be. So when I was getting into the industry, I definitely remember pushing myself so hard to the point where I have had, I think about 1 or 2 times in my career, burnout, not to the degree that I need to go to take major time off or anything like that, but burnout to a degree where I didn't want to get up in the morning, I couldn't do anything, I had no motivation, no productivity, and just kind of thought, what's the point of anything? Everything seemed like such a big task. I want to share with you though, before we go any further, that if you are feeling burnt out, you are definitely not alone. Here are some statistics of other people who have felt burnt out, or just kind of the health statistics around it. A survey done by Gallup found that among 7,500 full-time employees, 23% claimed to feel burnout at work always or very often, and a staggering 67% said they experience burnout sometimes. Essentially, 2/3 of all full-time workers experience burnout on the job. I'm interested to hear though, did those statistics surprise you, or were they as you expected? Leave in the comments if they surprised you and you didn't think they would be so high, or if they were as you expected as someone in the industry. But what is the root cause? Where does this burnout come from? Where is this culture that we have really developed that you have to work 24/7, you have to have 5 side businesses on top of your full-time job, you have to be learning something new, all while raising a family and being a good friend, and I'm probably missing 20 other things that we put on ourselves we need to do. Is it something that we internally make for ourselves, or does it come from something deeper than that? And to answer this, I think it's a little bit of both, society and also too internally. But essentially the internal stress and pressure we put on ourselves comes from external factors, what we see others doing, and society kind of pushing forward as if you want to succeed, you need to work 24 hours, you need to stay up all night long coding, or all night long learning this new thing. And I really want to share a little bit about my perception and my experience about why I think burnout is so common in this industry, in the tech industry. And I know for myself, I see a lot, the new trend right now is to say, I don't subscribe to hustle culture. I don't believe in it. I put self-care first and all this stuff, which is definitely in the right direction, I think, to really promote that working 24/7 and round the clock is not healthy. But I think almost sometimes when people are saying that, it's because there's still this underlying pressure we put on ourselves to subscribe to hustle culture, that we need to be working around the clock. For example, you see founders of Facebook or Snapchat or any of these big tech founders that they worked so hard, they got so successful at a young age, and almost that there's this underlying time or ticking clock that you need to be at a certain point in your career or with your achievements by a certain age. And that alone puts so much pressure on the individual to achieve these really tight deadlines or timelines by a certain age, which is insane to me. And I can completely attest to feeling that way. Like, if I wasn't at a certain point by this time in my life, then I'm a failure. If I didn't have a 7-figure business by the time I'm 30, what is the point? Just like these crazy thoughts, but they're very real, and you really need to address them and identify that they are here for a reason. Why is that? For me, when I take a look back, one of the things that I think really contributed to having burnout is seeing my colleagues, people around me working around the clock, and also to my manager and my boss, and just people, not necessarily where I work now, of course, but in other places, seeing that it was just constant go, go, go. I used to work at a startup, and there was definitely more of that mentality, and you feel like, you want to get a promotion or you want to get a bigger title, of course, and that's natural for many people, myself included. But when you see your colleague that's working twice as long as you, pushing code at 2 a.m. you can see come in and really doing all these things, you think that, well, if I'm not doing that, the promotion isn't going to go to me. Unless I have all these certifications and working 24/7, why would they promote me over this person? And that can be very overwhelming, especially when you are looking to get a raise in your salary for living purposes. Maybe you have a family, whatever it may be. And I think another reason that burnout is so popular or common in the tech industry is this, once again, going back to age, there's this correlation between people succeeding at a very young age in the tech industry and being so successful so young. And it goes back to wanting to have it all figured out, wanting to have really and really everything figured out. And that goes back to, we're from a generation, or many of us, I'm sure, who is watching this is from a generation where everything is instant, everything is now, and if you don't have it now, what's the point? And it goes back to, they work 24/7, you work so hard, you put in all this time so you can get money so fast, like instantly, and then in turn you make yourself sick and sad. So now that we kind of know a little bit about where burnout comes from and why it is so common in the tech industry, how do you navigate that? This is something that I don't have the perfect solution for, because I'm still trying to figure out myself. As someone who doesn't, want to work 24/7 or live my life like that, you're never going to get today back, so you need to enjoy it to the fullest. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but it's completely true. What makes you really happy? And a lot of times for myself, I get questions around, Tiff, you work this busy career, software developer and consultant, and then on top of that, you have this business now, Tiff and Tech. How do you manage to balance both? Even I went to visit my sister a while back, and she said, do you work 24/7? How do you manage to do this both? And it's not an appearance I want people to think that I do, because it's completely not true. Around 5:30 every day, my computers are off. But how did I get this way as far as knowing when to turn things off and knowing when to call it a day? For me, what it is I realized that at the end of the day, what makes me happy is my boyfriend Paul, my dogs, my family, watching a movie, going for a walk, just enjoying life. Because the things, these objects that money buys, you can't take it with you when you die. I'm not trying to get all deep here, but and people aren't going to remember you by that. So live your life, enjoy each day, as though, what are people going to think of you when they think of you? Are they going to think, oh wow, they had a really nice car? Or are they going to think, wow, that person was really kind? Okay, I feel like I went on a little bit of a tangent here, but it was just really important to me to get that out. If you are someone though that is navigating feeling burnt out or about to be in that burnt out space, what do? Well, the first thing is take a step back. And I know this is easier said than done, especially if you financially need to be working around the clock or more hours than not. but really prioritize your mental health. It's similar to when you are in an airplane and they always say that you need to put your own mask on first before you put on elderly or a child or someone who might not be able to. And it's completely true for this. If you are working around the clock, you're not going to be successful at what you're doing. That's the reality. You can't have enough energy to keep on going and going, so you need to have that downtime to recharge. Another thing is talk to someone, and this could be a counselor, a therapist, someone you really trust, like a friend. For myself, it's going to see a therapist and also talking to my family. Just even if there's nothing really to talk about, it doesn't have to be a big thing, but it's almost as though, you go to the gym to work out your body and keep it healthy. You go to a therapist or counselor to keep your mind healthy and your thoughts clear, especially if you're with a company who has benefits to cover that. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You have to take advantage of that to really uncover your feelings and why you are feeling this way and how to navigate it, because a lot of us aren't that great at navigating our feelings and emotions, especially when we start feeling run down. And for myself, I just want to be clear here, if you ever hear someone say they have it all figured out, they have this perfect magical balance and they have no stress in their life, or they have their schedule down to a T, they are probably lying. No one has it figured out fully. Or for myself anyways, my balance is not perfect. Some days it's way more to fintech. Some days it's way more, corporate life. Other days it's more family and dogs life. It depends. And don't be too hard on yourself for that. Take it day by day and put your attention where it needs to be. You can't give yourself to all of these things all at once. And that's really important to keep in mind. Also, one thing that's really helped me avoid burnout or not get to burnout, the point of burnout anymore, is to speak to myself and to be patient to myself like I am with others. I used to be so hard on the way I would speak to myself and be like, I can't believe you're not working today. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And I would never speak to anyone else like that. So why was I speaking to myself like that? And when I started changing the way I spoke to myself, that really, really helped me realize that, hey, you need love, you need downtime and quiet time just like anyone else does. Don't try and be this like 24/7 robot superstar, because you're going to burn out, and the effects of that they can last for so long and are not worth it at all. I hope this helps you if you are navigating being in the tech industry and seeing people work all the time or have so many things on the go and you feel like, wow, maybe I should start something, or maybe I need to have more on the go. No, do what makes you happy. And if that's having a few things on the go, great. If it's just working your 9 to 5, amazing. Whatever it is, your journey is so different than everyone else's, and you can't compare yourself to others' paths or others' journeys. Okay, I'm going to wrap that video up here, but I really hope, for anyone who's experiencing burnout or I'm sending you so much love, because it's not something that you want to go through. And I just, once again, am trying to really push that, make sure to take care of yourself before you get to that point. I'm curious though, how do you do self-care or avoid burnout? Leave it down in the comments, other ways or tips that really help you. And as always, leave in the comments other videos you want to see. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for more tech and coding related videos, and I will see you all soon. Thanks everyone.